What is up, everyone? Welcome to Massive Unboxing number 30. And it's only fitting that number 30 is a very special one, and that is all the models that are from or related pertaining to the California Cruisin trip. We've got quite a few models in this one, so this will be a very lengthy unboxing, and it's also another one of those where it'll be spread out across multiple orders, technically orders, I guess, because obviously all of these, save for one, were bought in person. So I received all these models physically, and only one of them I bought via an online storefront. So here we have the first batch of models. I'll put them off to the side, and we're going to jump straight into this with the first model that I got as part of this trip, this Delta Shuttle 727-200 by Gemini Jets. And I picked up this model at the Las Vegas Airplane Shop, their flagship store, and it was really fun getting to check that place out. The store is definitely smaller than what pictures or videos make it seem like, but nevertheless, really you're just going there for the experience, because this place gets talked about so much and I've wanted to go there for a very long time. And I'm at least happy that I got to do it, and I did get a model from there. Despite the high prices, obviously they sell the Gemini Jets and whatnot there at MSRP, whereas everyone else, all the other retailers, sell them at those discounted prices. So this was definitely a little pricey, which is why I only got one. Now, an unfortunate issue with this model is that the nose landing gear is all busted. Now, I did not take the model out of the box, so I completely screwed the pooch on that one, so that one's on me. But I did at least open the flap to see if there was anything else wrong with it, and of course, when you do that, you can't see the landing gear. So there's the model in there, and then still has the 2025 copyright on it, so we'll hopefully start seeing the models with the 2026 copyright on there. GJDAL2375 is the item number on this. So yeah, my first Delta Shuttle aircraft, and there is the nose landing gear there. I don't know how this happened, because I don't know if it was because my bag was like really full, so it's possible that the model might have been fine before I bought it, and then by the time I got it into my bag and all that, then that's when it really started to get all wacky and whatnot. And as such, the nose gear got crushed, probably in a spot where there was a lot of stuff in my bag, because again, it was very, very full and barely fit under the seat in front of me, but I did make it work. So it is very likely that that could also have been a culprit resulting in the gear coming off, but I also do feel that in that case, then the main landing gear would have also suffered the same fate. So very unfortunate, and I do not believe that this will be a very easy fix, because at this stage, it's very likely that the gear could easily break, and I do not know how else this is going to get fixed. So I'm going to do what I can to make it at least presentable. And I think, actually, that fixed a lot better than I thought that it was going to. That seriously fixed itself a lot better than what I thought. So I completely take back the hypothesis that I was just stating. I completely take that back. It is very possible that the gear just kind of popped out on its own, because there's a gap in the gear assembly where the axle goes in. And I've never had an issue with this on the 727, so I'm not sure if it was just an issue with this particular model or not. But now that I have the gear back on, it actually looks like it was never broken in the first place. So I really got away with one right there. I'm very surprised that that was as easy of a fix as it was. So pretty much have a almost perfectly mint Delta Shuttle 727-200. And I've got to say, this is a very lovely model, and I'm super happy that I got this one. $70 for this one with tax, you know, that's not a price I would pay for a Gemini Jet. I would have done closer to $50, $55 with shipping from a retailer. Probably would have been closer to $60 actually, because the retail prices, they keep creeping up, though they have slashed them once in the last several months, which is good. But overall, this is still very nice, and I'm just glad that they are utilizing their retro molds as much as they are. And especially with the latest March releases, they have another 727 in there, the United Friendship. example that I will have to pick up as well. So I still have yet to get all the other retro aircraft. I do have some of them in this unboxing. You'll see them here later in the video. Starting off, we have the matte nose cone. There's the cockpit windows. You transition into that navy blue cheat line with the Delta widget on the L1 door. American flag, and then you have the Delta Shuttle titles. And Delta Shuttle, they mainly had this in the Northeast, where it's obviously very busy airspace. So something like, you know, New York to Boston or Philly to New York, those kinds of routes that these shuttle carriers would operate. US Airways Shuttle also existed, and there was also United Shuttle having a similar concept. One little antenna up there on the top, and then there's the other landing gear, which again are perfectly fine. So again, I think my original hypothesis was incorrect. And then the registration on this bird is November 413 Delta Alpha. And then we do have the Delta tail. You'd also have the widget on the engines too. Very, very nice. And then on the other side, trying to be careful with the nose gear in case the axle comes off again. But on the right side there, you see the R1 door along with the luggage doors and everything. But yeah, you also do note as well, I forgot to mention, that the nose landing gear door is cracked. I have never seen that on a Gemini jet, so I honestly don't know what happened. Maybe it wasn't me, maybe it was just a factory defect, but the crack on the door is not very visible from afar, so I can't really complain too much, but still unfortunate to see that happen. There's the rear again, very lovely setup. This mold has not changed much since its inception, save for the addition of antennae and or I shouldn't say antennae, just the one antenna, and then the rolling landing gear obviously being another addition. Gemini Jet's logo and the stand hole, everything all included, and all the printed details that they have done really good with in more later releases. And then the top you see the emergency exit markings on the wings and everything else. Looking super nice. So I'm just glad this model was able to be repaired, because I was originally worried that it wasn't going to. So I'm glad that that turned out okay. Now move on to two models that I got from a friend. I actually bought 4 from this friend of mine. Now, the story is that she was selling a bunch of her models, and I originally wanted 2 of them. They were an Alaska Max 9 by Gemini and a Gen Air 777 by Phoenix. And I had another friend of mine pick those up, and when I was going to go visit him as part of this trip, he was going to deliver those to me. But because my bag was so full, I was a little worried I wasn't going to be able to get them in there, and he didn't want me carrying those around when we were in Vegas together. So he kept those, and unfortunately we ran out of time to get those over to me, so he's actually going to be shipping them out here very soon, and hopefully I'll have those in within the next week or so from me recording this segment anyway. And then the other 2 I bought later, so she kept those, and when I met her as a part of this trip as well, she did give these to me. So I do have them here, and I'll go ahead and start with the smaller box. Another new airline for the collection, Miat Mongolian Boeing 7879 by Phoenix. Another East Asia model, Mongolia being part of that region, so I decided to dive into this area. Ulaanbaatar is a big hub for Miat Mongolian's operations, so kind of want to do that airport at some point down the line. They also have some like 737s and I think a 76 as well, or maybe the other way around. So this 789 looking very nice. Love the box art on this. You've got the logo on there and everything. And then there's the bottom there, right side with the Phoenix logo. Top side and left side, the heart of aviation, and the registration Juliet Uniform -1789, and a nice photo there on the bottom. So they got the license from Boeing, but I assume they don't have the license from Miat Mongolian, which again, you know, a lot of collectors don't really give 2 hoots about licensing, but I know some, the airlines do, Cathay being one of them, as they've been doing all those 80th anniversary promotions, and they made a post on their social about unlicensed products not being tolerated, but obviously the manufacturers that don't get the licensing, they're not going to care. I think, JC and NG have released the 80th A350, which I did see in San Francisco, so I will be getting a model of that. I don't know if I'll include it in this unboxing or not, but if not, it will be a separate video. But anyway, back on topic to this lovely bird. This is nice. I've taken these models out as well, so I do have a good idea of what to expect. with regards to these birds, and they are super nice. Fiat Mongolian, another new airline for my collection, and also, of course, for the East Asia project. Thank you again to my friend for this. Really good deals on all these, so that's why I took her up on the deal so that I could add these birds to my collection. They are lovely. She has a very diverse collection, a lot of it kind of in that East Asia region, so works perfectly with my project. And I believe this is an older release too, because the 787 mold for Phoenix has been upgraded a little bit. The wings have been changed. You can see they kind of curve up a little bit too much, but hey, I can't really say much on that. I just love having this bird. Starting off, we have the nose cone. There's the cockpit windows. There's the flag of Mongolia and looks like an aircraft name of some sort. Fleet code on the nose gear door along with the nose gear itself. And there's the L1 door. Then you have the Mongolian Airlines titles along with their logo. National flag carrier. And then you have their website domain, miata.com. It's also the L2 door. One antenna just up on the top. And then there's a little dome up there just above the L3 door. There's the back with one antenna on the bottom and then two on the top. Registration again, Juliet Uniform -1789, Boeing 7879 printed below. And you have that nice blue tail. I do like this blue. It's a lot deeper than like a normal blue, but it's not too deep like on some carriers. Like the Delta Shuttle, for example, it's a very, very deep blue. It almost appears black in some pictures, but it's just a very deep blue that they use. Right side of the aircraft, not too much here, but you do have the addition of the luggage doors on this side and everything else. APU and everything looking great too. And then underneath we do have the Phoenix branding, which they have omitted on a lot of recent releases. Registration on the underside, but not on the top side. And of course, no overwing exits here, but all the wing details you could ask for. Very lovely bird for Miata Mongolian, the 789, my first of this airline. And then I'll add yet another model of this airline. I'll actually have another one in this unboxing as well. So now I move back to Aviation 400 with Cathay Pacific, the A350-1000. Saw one of these in Chicago, which is why I wanted to get this, and of course this is vital for East Asia. Ignore the box. This obviously was in my backpack, which was full, so I think it got crushed by some of the stuff in there, but the model looks fine, so shouldn't be an issue there. So obviously with Cathay Pacific, like I mentioned earlier, they are very stringent about how companies use their branding. Like you have to get licensing and all that, and they'll try to shut it all down, but because these manufacturers are all in China, it's almost impossible to actually sue these manufacturers and get them taken down, or, you know, get these models out of production and destroy any copies that haven't been sold to customers yet. It's a very complicated thing that I've read into some, but not like completely. So I can't really say that I'm an expert on it, but that's the gist that I've picked up on it from reading on, you know, articles and what people have been discussing about it. It's a very complicated thing to look into, but really at the end of the day, these are little model airplanes and I just love collecting them, so it, you know, doesn't really affect me too much, but I just read into it just because. So registration on this one is Bravo-Lima X-Ray Lima. Did see X-Ray Alpha in Chicago. Don't really mind the registration too much in this case, because I think there's been quite a few regs that have been made over the years since they got them. We do have the Cathay Pacific logo, Airbus A350-1000, 1 to 400 scale, and their item number is WB4010. They like to use the WB for certain airlines that are very stringent about licensing, and I think they did this with the Emirates examples that they did. But of course those, they don't even have Emirates branding because they're very, very tight-lipped about it, way more than Cathay is. On the bottom, you have the standard AV400 design for the bottom. And then on the right side, there's some aircraft specifications, mainly like dimensions and all that. Top side there, and then the left side, you see, it kind of looks like an official Cathay Pacific product, the way that they've boxed it, but obviously it is not. But again, don't really care about it. So let's open this beauty. Another East Asia beauty, so this will be, number 2. Have the A321neo from them by Panda, and now have the A35K by AV400. Beautiful. And the gear does not come off on this. So this is my first AV400 that does not have the detachable gear. So it took me, what was that, like 4 or 5 tries to actually get a model that doesn't have the detachable gear, because they're so common now. I love the concept with the detachable gear, but this was a slightly older release. I think it's from like a few years ago now, before they introduced the detachable gear, and especially across the majority of their molds that they have. But look at that beautiful bird, Cathay A35K. Welcome to the fleet. Super glad to add one of these, and definitely be very vital for East Asia, and if I ever do a large international airport, which that's in my long-term plans, this will be something to utilize for that airport. If I do something like Chicago maybe, then this will also be very useful. So let's get started with the review. I have the nose cone, all the various details, the cockpit windows, there's the Cathay logo, then you have XL on the nose gear door for the fleet code. L1 door, there's the Cathay Pacific titles, and then the molded beacon up on the top, which are super nice on the AV400s. Couple antennae right there, there's the L2 door, you have the Rolls-Royce Trent engines, and also the blue end piece there, looking super nice. Wheels don't roll on this, it looks like. Actually, they do, but they're like it's like a different kind of rubber than what you'd see on other models that have rolling gear. So it doesn't really roll. It doesn't feel like it's rolling. It's just kind of static. But, you know, obviously you don't really roll these things. But anyway, another antenna up there at the top. There's the L3 door. Then you have the Swire logo back here, which manufacturers, I've seen that they tend to be very inconsistent with how they print it, but this one doesn't look too bad, I don't think. Registration again, Bravo-Lima X-Ray Lima. There's a Wi-Fi dome and another very tiny antenna there. L4 door, and then the full Cathay tail looking beautiful. Love spotting this airline at the various airports. I've seen them at, where have I seen them at? I've seen them in Chicago, I've seen them at, I think I saw them both at SFO and LAX. And I think, yeah, New York, I got them once at least as well. And yeah, that's really all where I've spotted them. And then several times as contrailing if they're flying over my house or whatever. It's also fun seeing that. And I've seen the Chicago Air flight also doing the same thing. And then on the other side, we do have the luggage doors here. One large one up front. And then there's a second luggage door back there. Cathay tail again, looking beautiful. And we'll take a look underneath. Do have a stand hole, no branding, another molded beacon. Beautiful detailing on this, and then also the registration on the underside, but not on the top side. And then the sharklets do have the Cathay branding on both the inside and actually just on the inside. The outside is just the plain Cathay green that they have. So those are the first 3 models that I have. So just a quick rundown of what's to come in this unboxing. So we already have 3 models here. I've got the other 2 from the same friend that I got these 2 from. They will be en route via another friend who has them in his possession right now. So those will be coming very soon. I have 8 models from the SFO Collectibles show, which I had to ship out because I couldn't carry them all in my bag. So those will hopefully arrive in the coming days. And then I have 1 model that is en route from Waffle that is related to the trip itself. So there's going to be quite a few models in this, and then maybe I'll get the Cathay Lettuce A350 in there as well if I'm able to squeeze some more space in my budget. Use that a little bit more to get that model added in, but definitely be a thought as I think about it here in the coming days. But with that said, let's move on to the next order. Alright, let's continue on with the momentum here from California Cruisin. First item I do want to show real quick is this little goodie bag from Airline Videos Live. So we went up to Imperial Hill at LAX, and of course they were out there spotting, so they gave everybody these little goodie bags. So here's one of the items in here. I think it's like a coaster or something, but you see just their little promo stuff. And then there's also like some stickers and magnets in here that look really nice. Got the logo and then LAX right there, super nice. And then a little further down, there's some more stickers. Got the crew right there, the plane jockeys, and then plane spotter sticker. And then also in here, there's a magnet, a little bit bent because it was in my bag, but yeah, LAX airport action. Good stuff there. And then there's also some little buttons. There's a plane jockey button, if you can see that. And then also, there's the last item in here. Actually, a couple more items. There's the Airline Videos Live button. And then there's, these are just all like other little stickers in here. Got the Nighthawk, which they just relaunched. And then their 5-year sticker right here. A nice colorful pattern. I forget what the official name of it is. But yeah, that's everything in the goodie bag. So I'll put that off to the side. 3 packages have arrived within the last couple of days, and then a 4th one actually out for delivery the day I'm recording this. It has not yet arrived, but I got home before it was delivered. So I figured I'll unbox the 3 packages that I have for now, and then once that large package comes in, that will be shown after this. So I'll go ahead and get started with this box, which has just one lone model, and this does come from Waffle Collectibles. So I wasn't going to have any online orders with this. It was just going to be models from the San Francisco Collectible show. But because there were some sentimental models that I needed to get my hands on, that changed completely. So we start off with this one from Waffle, which I'll tell you more about it here once this is all opened. But never really thought I'd get another one of these, just because I thought one was sufficient, and then I had a second one of this, which was a fantasy model. But never thought I'd actually get the other one, just because I already had the existing one, which was made long after this one got made. And that model, my friends, it is going to be the very lovely, got the wrapping newspaper here, Allegiant Air A319 by Panda Models. And you'll note the registration November 334, November Victor. I flew this exact registration on the first flight of the California Cruisin trip between Sioux Falls and Las Vegas. You'll see in that trip report already by the time this video comes out. You can check out that video by hitting the card in the top right corner so that you can see how that flight went. And I completely forgot about this even existing until we were at the airplane shop. And I remembered the registration because it seemed familiar to me by that point. And that's when I remembered that this had been made into a model before. And this Panda release was actually made for the now defunct RM Model Store, which I haven't really talked much about, kind of the, I guess, lore, for lack of a better term, the lore around that store. So they started around COVID, went into 2021, 2022, and kind of around that point, they started having serious problems with customer service. They weren't shipping out orders, they weren't communicating with people, and generally the whole store just tanked. And people started bashing them, and you may have seen several videos from various content creators here in the community telling people do not buy from this store. And it was really unfortunate because, I mean, they were doing so well for a while and they just completely fumbled the bag for inexplicable reasons. They didn't even provide any sort of notices as to why that happened. And then ultimately they quietly closed the store, and Waffle came in, took in all this stock, because this is the only way he would have gotten these Panda A319s, and he has a surplus of them. So obviously they didn't sell well, at least in RM's hands. But since I flew this reg, I had to get this. So we have Airbus A319-100, image of the plane, registration, 1:400 scale die-cast aircraft model. Interesting that the reg is not on the image there. On the bottom, there's more model information, 1:400 scale A319, and you have all the Allegiant colors incorporated throughout for the branding. On the back, there's the specifications and everything. So it kind of looks like a JC box, but this is a Panda mold. Let's pop the top on this beauty. So this is now the 5th model that I'll have in my collection that is of a matching tail number I flew. And this one right here looks golden. Nice. Cool, cool. My friend Syracuse Aviation's got quite a few of these, and of course he got them over the Gemini release for better quality mold and all that. And I want to say he has like 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, has quite a few of those, and then the E320s with the sharklets. I don't understand, like back before, if we ignore the ultimate customer service issues that came up with our model store, how in the world did this guy not make the fence tip A320? I don't understand. He made another sharklet 320 which that's the only Allegiant 320s we've ever gotten in the current livery. No fence tips. I don't understand. We desperately need one of those, and I'm at least happy that, you know, we do have a decent amount of Allegiant models to begin with, but that 320 fence tips needs to be made ASAP. There's a wish for it on the NG wish list if you want to vote for that. I've already cast my vote for it, and hopefully that will give some more votes so that they can approve it and ultimately produce it in like 2031 or something. I don't freaking know. I don't know when they're going to make it. But here she is, Panda Allegiant A319, November 334, November Victor, a matching registration. So let's take a look at this beauty. Might do a model comparison as well between the Gemini and the Panda release here. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'll definitely make that video down the line. Nose cone, cockpit windows. There's the L1 door along with the little antenna. Nose gear door and everything. Looking great. You see the fleet code there. Allegiant titles, and then you have the engines, which are looking fantastic. Landing gear is looks like a little wonky there, but nothing too major. The various antennae right there. Registration November 334, November Victor. And there's the L2 door and the Allegiant tail looking nice. Panda did a really great job with the colors on this. On the right side, you have the luggage doors over here looking great, and everything else. And I do want to point out I was seated in 6F. I was probably right around here, kind of in this area. That's where I was seated. Got that great engine view. So yeah, Allegiant's been very reliable for me. I haven't had any major issues with them. Underneath, there's all the printed details and the landing gear, stand hole. And on top, you have the flap slat speed brakes and also the overwing exit markings included. Beautiful model for Panda Allegiant 319, number 5 in the collection in terms of matching tail numbers I've flown. And hopefully that number will continue to grow because there's quite a few aircraft out there that I've now flown, and hopefully we'll get more of those made over time. So happy to add this one for the sentimental value. And now we'll move on to another one that also has sentimental value, but for a different reason. We turn back to the great folks at Wildcat Diecast for this order. I got plenty of great discount codes. I always use CM Aviation. Gets you 10% off all orders. It's a great discount code to use. And of course, if you use it, Connor does get a little bit of a commission out of it. No extra cost. He definitely appreciates that support. So I do encourage you, if you are shopping with Wildcat, you do use that code just so that he gets that little commission there, a little bonus or whatever. I haven't really thought about doing a partnership myself. It's on my immediate plans, but maybe down the line, once I really solidify everything with myself, heading into the future, that will be something that I will consider doing for the channel as well. I mainly do this for fun. That's why I don't really do any like partnerships or anything. It's just not my forte at the moment, but that'll change down the line. So this model, I did spot, and I was going to get the NG release of it because I know NG announced it, but I kind of flew under the radar for me. But Aero Polaris actually did this aircraft as well, so I actually got the AP release, not Associated Press or Advanced Placement. But this is the Aero Polaris Cathay Pacific A350-900, the 80th anniversary retro livery. Yes, the iconic lettuce for Cathay Pacific, back in the skies after many, many years. So as of right now, they have an A350-900 and also a 748 for their Cathay Cargo division. That's now flying around with this same livery. And I saw this A350 in San Francisco. We were at Bayfront and only got notified of it once we got to the spot and we were well within our spotting session. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy a model of it. And this thing is freaking gorgeous in person. If you get a chance to see this in person, go to the airport and see it because this thing looks amazing. I am so glad I got to spot this with great friends, some of whom have seen this livery before. Others, it was their first time. I think for Connor and also for Emerson Syracuse, it was their first time seeing this model or seeing this livery in person. All right, so Aero Polaris, they're kind of an interesting brand. I've seen a few releases from them recently, mainly the A350, but they do have some 737s as well. They did like a United and an ANA example, which I have yet to get for East Asia. But they have some really good hard product, and the presentation overall is also very nice. So we start off with a box. There's Aero Polaris 400, Cathay Pacific with their 80th sticker, image of the plane, A350-900, registration Bravo-Lima Romeo Juliet. And this is like a flap Kind of like a Gemini jet, except it's held in with Velcro, which is pretty interesting. So there you see it with the flap underneath. It does have a little collector card. Arrive in better shape. Very nice. And then there is the model information there on the back. It also does have a little production number. Looks like I got 276. I'm not sure if that's a production number, but that's my best guess. So it makes every collector card unique. And there's the model inside. You see the cloth in there, which I've never seen for a model. And not just regular cloth, but this is like more premium, if you will. And I know some A350s, they've come with like little airport displays. I don't think this one does. And there's the cloth. You can see where the antenna kind of poked a hole in it, ripped it apart. But oh my gosh, that is nice. Aero Polaris, welcome to the fleet. And also the Cathay lettuce livery. Man, AP does such a fantastic job with the 350. So, yet another brand. I think that's the 5th one, because I just did a My Collection video on the A350, and I had, at that point, Gemini, NG, Phoenix, and AV400. So now I've got Aero Polaris to add to that tally. And, oh no, we do have the little airport diorama piece in here. So they do come with the wide body still, and I think there's another little something in here too, in the box. I can pull it out here. There we go. And this is a qualified certificate, so I guess this is like just a thing to show that they actually looked at it in the factory, but there's no markings or anything, so I'm guessing they just didn't do it. But we do have the little diorama piece, which I will use for this model, just so that it gets its airtime. But yeah, Aero Polaris doing phenomenal work. And excited to add more of their products in the future. Hopefully we'll get more chances to do that. And I'll just plop it down just like that. It's not going to be a perfect fit, but hey, we'll make it work. But man, look at that, Cathay Pacific. So this is now my 3rd Cathay model and the 2nd in this unboxing. And the 1st with the old livery too. Always loved the lettuce livery. It's always stood out to me. But you can see Aero Polaris looking super nice here for the A350-900. Starting off, nose cone, there's the cockpit windows. You have the last 2 letters of the registration on the nose gear door, along with the nose gear itself. There's the L1 door. You do have the red Cathay Pacific titles above the green sheet line. A couple antennae right there. And then there's the engines, which also have that green lettuce stripe on it. And also a little Rolls-Royce engine featured there. There's the main landing gear, looking great. L3 door, and then you have the 80th sticker. And the registration again, Bravo-Lima Romeo Juliet, rear door. And then there is the Cathay tail for the time. And I'll just kind of flip it around here like that. But there you go, looking super nice. This thing is nice. I'm glad I got the Aero Polaris. I would have gotten the NG just so I could get some more points, but I wanted to have the new brand, so that's why I got this over the NG instead. But both are really, really good. On the right side, you have the R doors, and then also the luggage doors underneath. There's also this nice little shaped antenna right there, kind of in the center of your screen. And then on the back, all looking good. Man, this thing is gorgeous. Underneath, we do have, there's also Aero Polaris branding printed underneath. Registration on the underside, but not on the top side there. But also the wing details and everything are included. And then I'll just do a quick overview of the little diorama piece that you get. So this does fit wide bodies, and it does have the markings for the applicable aircraft. It'd actually be written this way so you could see it from the terminal. So there you go. There's all the various markings. You can pause to read each and every one of those if you wish. But there you go. Super nice. And it's not like a flimsy paper. This feels a lot more, it's a lot more durable, it feels like. It's kind of it's like a cardboard or something. But this will look super nice. I'll have to find a place to put it. I don't want to, actually I could probably just put it here in the diorama, just say the heck with it. So I'll just put it there for now. And it will remain there for the remainder of the unboxing. Now let's move on to, it's not really an envelope per se, but this is a different box. So these are the other 2 models that my friend shipped out for me because I was not able to get these into my backpack since it was overstuffed, and there were also some other logistical complications that came up. So he was very happy to send these out. And they actually got here pretty quickly. Shipped them out on, I think it was Tuesday, and it got here Thursday, which I was not expecting to get here so quickly, but there you go. So I'll take a minute to open this and we'll check out what's in here. Also nice touch is the United baggage tape that is used here. I also like that touch. All right, now I'll open. Let's slide them out just from this side. And the first model in here, Alaska 737 MAX 9. Finally, I have one of these after so many years. It's only fitting I got one after I flew one for the first time. So happy to add this one in there. And then the second model in here is an East Asia model, and I think there's a little note in here too, so let me take that out real quick. Second bird in here is a Gen Air 777-200ER. Big airline for East Asia, and this airline is very, very rare. Have not been able to find one, but fortunately, my friend that I got the other two models off of, she was selling hers, so I'm like, heck yeah, I'll take it. Really good deal on it, and of course the Alaska MAX 9, since I really needed one of these anyway for my airports, and now that I've actually flown on one digit off one of the numbers there, this is going to be a very sentimental value as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the Alaska, because that's what we like to do around here. So Alaska MAX 9 by Gemini Jets. I kind of wish they did one in this, the January, February release, but they did another MAX 8. I don't know why. MAX 9 would have been a lot more easy for them to make sales off of. But standard Gemini Jets box in here, nothing too crazy. And yeah, first, no, not the first Gemini in this unboxing, well, the first one in this batch anyway. And then this is a 2019 release. This is a very old release in terms of, you know, Alaska and whatnot. But these things are just super hard to find. I don't understand. Item number is GJASA 1873. So, oh, we got a, what? Okay, I guess there was a, why was there a card in here? And it looks like the thing has been scratched off. I'm going to redeem that code real quick just to see if that's been redeemed yet. Yeah, so that code had already been redeemed in there, so, you know, no worries. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the Alaska MAX 9 from Gemini Jets. And we are golden. Perfect. Well, at least for 2019 Gemini standards, but hey, I'll take it. Because NG's not going to make one at any point in time. I don't see why, but I don't see why they wouldn't. Beautiful Alaska MAX 9 by Gemini. Really hope we get another one of these, especially for collectors that are desperately looking for one of these. So let's go ahead and take a look at this beauty. We have the nose cone. There's the cockpit windows with the proudly all Boeing titles, which isn't really correct, but hey, you know, points for effort, I guess. And then we have 913 MAX 9 on the nose gear door. You see that nose gear there. Gemini had really major problems with this way back in the day. A little bit of a paint smudge there, but that's nothing too major. Alaska titles otherwise looking great, and there's the antenna down there. There's the engines, and then the one lone antenna up there at the top in the middle, also one on the back. Registration is November 913 Alpha Kilo, and I flew 903, so one digit off there in that regard, but this is still very much a sentimental model to me. And then there is the Alaska tail. And then on the other side, should have the luggage doors and everything here. So there's one up front, very tiny one. And then there's also another one back there, looking great. Also have the door plug mentioned there, featured on this model. And underneath, there's the Gemini Jets logo, stand hole and everything. On the top, you do have the overwing exit markings and all the other wing details included. Looking very nice from Gemini from 2019. And hopefully we get another release of it, because that would be very welcomed by many collectors still in need of one. What I have been in need of as well for East Asia is Gen Air, and I finally have one in the collection, a 777-200ER by Phoenix. Gen Air is from South Korea. I believe they're like a low-cost carrier. There's quite a few of them out there. And they have this nice green livery. It's super nice. And they also have like 737s. They've got some of those, and I think Phoenix has done one of them. At least a couple, and they've done a couple 777s as well. So I have Hotel Lima 7743 in this case. We have the nice green color along with what looks like butterflies with a plane embedded into it. On the bottom, there's more of the Jin Air branding with the different colors, along with the Phoenix logo. There's the airline logo, registration, and Phoenix logo. On the top, there's a standard warning stuff, and then the back here, the Heart of Aviation. So let's open this up, see what this model's all about. Man, this is going to be super nice of Jin Air. Wow, that livery really does pop, especially with the green there. It's almost like a yellow in a way. But yeah, super nice. Welcome, Jin Air, to the fleet. Welcome to the East Asia collection as well. So there we are, Jin Air 777-200ER by Phoenix. Lovely bird here from this manufacturer that loves to do a lot of unique choices in terms of releases. Nose cone, cockpit windows, the last three numbers of the registration on the nose gear door. Nose gear itself, L1 door, and you have the jinair.com titles with the kind of like it's like a very deep brown, and then the blue there for air, and also the website domain name on the engines. Super nice. Let's see if I can identify these engines. I want to say they're Pratt & Whitney's. I think that's what they are, at least on this particular bird. I could be wrong, but they look very Pratt & Whitney-y to me, if that's even a proper term. But anyway, there's the engines there. Then you have the main landing gear and everything. All the various antennae up top. Boeing 777-200 printed back there, and then Hotel Lima 7743 as the reg printed on the tail, and also with the Jin Air logo featured prominently. And on the other side, should have the luggage doors. There's a big one right there, and then another one in the back. Actually, two more in the back. Also, one little antenna you can see underneath. And then we'll check out the underside for the registration and everything. You see the big jinair.com titles on the belly, along with the Phoenix logo. Registration on the underside and the top side, which is pretty common for a lot of these airlines over here in this part of the world to have their logos, or not logos, sorry, the registrations on the top and bottom of the wings. So there we go, Jin Air 777, and a nice little setup here for this portion of the massive unboxing, with two fantastic models that get to join the fleet. I should say four as well, but you get the idea here. So there are the four models from this portion of the unboxing. Great lineup for sure, with a mix of East Asia and US stuff. Now I just gotta wait for the big box to come in, which is all the SFO show models. One box that, and we'll wrap things up neatly here for this massive unboxing. All right, the mother load has arrived. All of my models from the San Francisco Airline Collectibles show from March 7th of 2026. My first time attending a regional collectible show since the Minneapolis one back in October of 2023. So as I mentioned before, because of the lack of space in my backpack, I was not able to get any of these models into the bag, so had to head over to a UPS store in San Francisco to get all this shipped out. And I will say the pricing for this is not... It wasn't cheap to ship all this back, but it was my only option, so you gotta take what you can get here and just hope for the best. So shipped this out same day after the show, and took about a week to get here. I mean, the other shipping options they had, I think they were like $200 for like next day air, and it's like, no, I am not in any hurry to get these things. You know, I just rather pay what I think is reasonable for shipping, and just let them take their time to get here. And certainly they did, and now they are here. Let's get that last that last corner piece. All right, so there's everything inside, or well, at least part of it, and I'm just going to take out the models one at a time here, just so it's a lot easier for me. So hopefully they all came in intact. We shall see. So I'm just going to pull them out in the order that I pulled them out of the box, and I'm going to lower this down first, so give me a second. So the first model I pulled out of the box was this Gemini Jets JetBlue A220-300 in the new livery. I've been waiting for them to do this, and they finally got it done in that December batch, which was just insane. I do have another model from that batch. I didn't get all of them, though, because I found a bunch of other good stuff Definitely want to save getting the rest of them from an online retailer, since these collectible shows can have so much good stuff that you can't get online. So wanted to save a majority of what I got for those rare models, but I did get a couple of the recent ones just to be safe. So there's a model inside. I've taken most of these out. I did that when I was at the show. So 2025 copyright as always, item number GJJBU 2338. So another JetBlue 220. Looking forward to using this in conjunction with the previous release until these all get repainted. I think there's only like, I want to say half a dozen of them maybe. Maybe there's more now that have the new livery. And this one actually turned out really nice. I think a lot better than the old livery that they did. But there we go. This one looks like it arrived mint, no pun intended, and we're looking golden. We'll try to breeze through these reviews pretty quickly since there's quite a few models. But here's a JetBlue E220, and engines look like they're tilted up a bit on this one. So a little unfortunate there, but the rest of it still looks really good. Wait for the camera to focus, that'd be fantastic. So there's the nose cone copy windows, and then you have the fleet code, and then we have, I think this is named Taming of the Blue. And there's the L1 door, JetBlue titles, you have the one little antenna, there's the engines and everything, and also the Hop's Tail, the new design for the new livery. Registration is November 3241 Juliet. You see the Wi-Fi dome, Airbus C220-300 underneath the window line and everything. Looking great. And then on the other side, we have the luggage doors here. This engine doesn't look too bad. Well, it still kind of has the same upward tilt, but not as bad as the other one. And then there's the rear luggage door there looking great. And then also the winglets on this, which are, it's like a kind of like a hot pink. It's a unique color there, that hot pink, if you can see that. Looks pretty cool. And then underneath, we have the full JetBlue titles there on the belly, and the rest of the Hops livery underneath. Very tiny Gemini Jets logo, if you can even see where that is from this angle. And on the top, you do have the overwing exit markings and the beautiful white wings and horizontal stabilizers. Nice model from Gemini, despite a couple little deficiencies, but definitely much needed for U.S. airports. All right, dig a little bit deeper here into the box. We got quite a few models in here. I got 8 from the show. Now we're on to number 2, and we have another East Asia model, and yes, another Cathay Pacific. So really trying to build up this airline, since it is pretty popular over here in this part of the world. But I do have the A330-300 from Phoenix. And the guy that I bought this off of, he asked me, like, is this for your East Asia project? Heck yeah, it is. So shout out to that gentleman. I did not get your name, unfortunately, or I don't remember at this point. But if you are watching, shout out to you, because that was awesome of you to remark that. Regarding the East Asia collections, this will be very beneficial for it. Cathay loves using these A330s on a lot of the within East Asia routes. Spent $55 on it, so not too bad. I think this is another release too. Might be newer though, I'll have to look at MadBee. Airbus A330-300, image of the plane, Cathay Pacific logo, registration, 1:400 scale. Nice image there of their route map out of Hong Kong. Standard warning stuff underneath. Right side, there's the top side with the Cathay logo. And then the left side, which has the price sticker on it. And then the back side, which has a little diorama of the Hong Kong airport there. Very nice. Bravo Dash Hotel Lima Whiskey is the reg we're working with. Let's see if we have we do have the registration underneath. This one I did look at as well for the A330 by Phoenix. This will be, I don't know how many I have from them now for A330 from Phoenix. But yeah, this one actually turned out really nice. Really happy with this one. Very beneficial for East Asia. Awesome model here, Cathay Pacific A330-300. So that is now the 3rd Cathay model in this unboxing, and I believe that's the last one that I have. Maybe I got another one in there, I don't know. But like I said, I bought 8 models from this show, which is kind of high, but I only spent like $300 on all this. So I actually got some really good deals on a lot of them. Actually about $350 because I ran out of cash. I wanted to get one more, so had to use other methods to buy that one, but hey, it happens. Nose cone, copy windows, there's the Cathay logo. L1 door, also a little One World sticker. Have the last 2 letters of the registration on the nose gear again. One antenna and a little dome up there. And then you have the tiny Cathay Pacific titles. They are introducing larger titles across the fleet. I don't think they're on the A333 yet, but they might. Maybe there's one of them now, I don't know. but we'll definitely get one of those at some point down the line as they become more prevalent. The 777s, I've seen them on, they actually looks pretty nice, and then the 748s, I know they have larger Cathay cargo titles now. There's the Rolls-Royce Trent engines on these beauties. There's the landing gear and everything looking good. L3 door, another Wi-Fi dome, and a couple more in 10A, top and bottom. We have the Swire logo, registration again, Bravo-Hotel Lima Whiskey, and then the Cathay tail. Colors and printing and everything look great on this. Phoenix does great with their printing. And on the other side, you do have a luggage door there, along with some other panel details, and also the Cathay logo on the insides of the A330 winglets. There's the rear luggage door there and everything. Looking great on that side, too. Underneath, no Phoenix logo, so this might be a newer release because they stopped putting the Phoenix logo now on the bellies of the models. Registration on the underside, but not on the top side. And all the wing details there. Model number 2, looking solid. Cathay Pacific, another bird for the fleet. Love building up the fleet. Now let's head to model number 3, and let's go do... Oh yeah, I forgot I got this one. Okay. Aero Classics time. So got a couple retros in here. Got a nice balance of retro and modern. I think I was about half and half. Let me put these other 2 models away. Was pretty good on getting some old models, especially like really rare ones. And this one, I think this is kind of rare. I don't know when this was released exactly, but I think it's more recent. Only paid 41 bucks for it, and it was from a gentleman who had a really nice selection of prop liners, so I got a couple of those off of him. And this is another one of the other models that I got from him, this Sun Country bird. So we have the Aero Classics logo, there's a cutout for the model, but not much here with these boxes. So there's the side there. Sun Country 727-200, November 293 Uniform Sierra. This might be a bit of a newer release, but again, I'll look at Mad B. And then adult collectible model warning, and otherwise it's just a plain white box. So let's take this out. Ooh, this one's nice. Man, really want them to release the first Sun Country livery because that flew the flight between Sioux Falls and Las Vegas, the very first flight they ever took, and my God, that is beautiful. I am so glad I spent the $41 to get this one. It was not a priority model. I didn't anticipate getting an old livery Sun Country bird, but hey, I love adding them. I love adding retros. Let's review. Beautiful livery. Love this old Sun Country livery. Kind of wish they did a proper retro for their 40th anniversary instead of a little sticker, because I heard that they were going to do a retro for their 40th, but they did not. So that was a bit disappointing. But here we are, Sun Country 727-200. Old livery, very old livery. We've got the black tip for the nose, cockpit windows, L1 door, and then you have part of the Sun Country branding. Looks like an actual sun there. Nice retro vibes with it, with the different orange shades present. Fleet code on the nose gear door there and everything. And then you have the Sun Country titles coming into play with the landing gear, not very rollable. But there's the full Sun Country titles. There's the rear door, American flag, and the registration November 293 Uniform Sierra. So I want to say this is an ex-Northwest bird, because that does sound like something that would have flown with Northwest back in the day. And then on the other side, we do have a luggage door there, and then should be 2 in the back. There's the 2 there, one just behind the wing and one just behind the R2 door. Underneath, not too much here, just a stand hole and a couple minor details printed and molded, and then the top you have the overwing exit markings and all the wing details featured. Great bird from Aero Classics, and super happy that I got this one. Shows you the kind of rare things that you can find at these one-day collectible shows, so definitely hit these up if you're able to, because they can have some really good stuff. Oh yes, this is going to be a nice one. I'm glad I pulled this one out. So mentioned prop liners, and of course, this guy had some really nice ones. $33, I think it was $39. Well, whatever it was less than $40 for this Northwest Airlink Shorts 360-200. I've had a soft spot for the Shorts 360. Never been a huge priority for me to get one of these, but when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, I have to get one of these. So, of course, I bought it. It was less than $40. Heck of a deal. I think these things command prices double that on eBay at least, especially if you can find one anyway. But this was actually this is a 2013 release. It's actually a lot newer than I thought it would be. But there's a model inside looking nice. And the aircraft pamphlet and everything. You can pause to read that. And on the back, 2013 release as mentioned. Definitely be a subject for a future retro review episode. Item number is GJNWA 1115. 1115. Sounds like my bedtime. At least for now, anyway. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, this is nice. It just amazes me. Like, why can't Gemini do more of, like, the, some of the other small planes? Like, they could do, beyond the Saab 340s, do some, like, the... God, I don't know what's another, like, small plane they could do that would easily fit in 400 scale that had a prevalent operator base. You know, something unique, like the Aerospatiale Nord 262. That would be a fun subject for them to cover at some point, but whether or not that's actually something of their interest is, you know, that's to be seen. But, you know, in all honesty, I'm just glad to have something unique for the retro collection. It's the little bird, the Shorts 360. A model so tiny that I'm sure that if I zoom in any further, it's going to go out of focus. Yep, well, I mean, I could get a little bit of zoom, but not very much, kind of like the Mesa Beach 1900 that I got in the previous massive unboxing. But Northwest Shorts 360, let's take a look. Little black tip there for the nose, and you have the Northwest Airlink titles. Very tiny nose gear right there. There's the cockpit windows, and then you have this very boxy look for this plane. I think the passengers would have boarded through that door, I want to say. But you do have all the little passenger windows. Shorts 360 printed on the landing gear assembly. Registration is November 386 Mike, Quebec. I don't know who operated this. Let me see if it says on the box. It does not. It just says Northwest Airlink. But I'm guessing... I don't know if Masaba flew these. I want to say it was maybe Masaba or it was someone else. But I'll definitely look at this in editing. Put some info there on your screen. But there's a Northwest tail there, just the plain red for Northwest Airlink. And this is my first Northwest Airlink model with this livery too. This is also pretty cool. Yeah, so there's the Northwest Airlink titles on that side. Shorts 360 there and everything. The blades do spin. And specifically the Shorts 360, there's a couple of them still flying around for like freighter stuff. They have Pratt & Whitney Canada PT6A 65R engines. So Pratt & Whitney Canada coming into play here with this particular aircraft. And then you flip it underneath, there's a very tiny Gemini Jets logo, stand hole and everything. And the top there is a little beacon light right on the wing piece right there. So just a single piece for the wing. Pretty standard for an aircraft this tiny. Very lovely bird from Gemini Jets. Super glad I got one of these. Didn't think I was going to find one, but hey. Like I said, that shows you the really good stuff you can get at these collectible shows when you look around a little. Alright, what do I pull out next? Okay, we got a wide body. I'll save that for later. Let's go ahead and let's do this one here. And it looks like a timetable got shoved in here. So I did get one timetable, just a single timetable from this. One timetable, this National Airlines one for $12. Would have gotten more, but I was really focused on just getting the models. We'll do the other small prop liner that I got, which is this America West Express -8 200. Also released by Gemini Jets. Paid $39 for this one as well. Another rare prop liner. It sounds like there's something rattling in there, and I don't think that was the case when I opened it, so hopefully shipping UPS didn't break it. But there's the model inside. There's the pamphlet once again. And this is a 2011 release. Item number is GJAWE 921. I'm going to open this very carefully in case there is like a loose part or something in there. It sounds like there is something that might be rattling around in there. I don't know if it's like a landing gear or something. Oh god, I hope whatever is broken, it's at least an easy fix. And not something that... Okay, I can't even get this cradle open. There we go. It's starting to come loose, kind of. Just trying to be tedious with it. And it is... Oh, of course, it's a frickin' landing gear. You gotta be kidding me. Was not like that. Yeah, that definitely came out. Let's see if I can... Oh, one of the wheels came off. Are you serious? The hell is the wheel? Oh, the wheel's in there. Okay. Well, that was, and there's another wheel that came off too. What? Okay, UPS did a piss poor job handling this package, because if this model came as busted as it did, good grief. Yeah, so maybe next time I go to a collectible show and I have to travel far and I can't load up my backpack with models, maybe I should just bring checked luggage next time, because this is ridiculous. Let's see, I'm gonna do some repairs on this, so stand by a minute. Well, quite infuriating that this thing came broken, because I was actually really looking forward to it. I don't know where the other nose wheel went, so that one has just been labeled missing unofficially at this point. But at the very least, I have it in a presentable state, so that we can at least do a proper review. So the America West -8 200, and this, I believe, is a Mesa-operated bird, but I could be wrong on that. So we have the nose cone, there's the copy windows. MDE, not sure what that is, but you do have the America West Express titles by the front door there on the left side. There's that missing wheel again. If I move this model too much, this gear is going to pop out again. It's already wanting to come out, because like it snapped and there's some paint damage. So like you see there, it's trying to come off. But the engines and everything else looks fine on this. Registration is November 989er Hotel Alpha, America West titles. And yeah, you're going to see, up there goes. So there goes the wheel there, the whole landing gear assembly. But on the other side, you see some of the doors there and all the other compartments and everything. So this will have to get repaired off camera once I'm done filming. But underneath, you do have the Gemini Jets logo, stand hole and everything. And the rest of the model looks fine despite the QC issue there. So, a bit unfortunate that UPS screwed the pooch on this one by damaging this thing. So we'll have to get this repaired after I'm done filming this, and then after I get done editing all my other videos. So this will go off to the side, but we'll move on to the next model. Some other items in here. There was someone handing out the 737-300 stickers, so I thought that was pretty neat. And then I have a good handful of, okay, I don't even know what happened to this box, but I have a good handful of Aviation Expo flyers. So picked up a good handful of these, just so I can promote this show. Definitely attend Aviation Expo Seattle 2026, July 8th to the 11th at the Doubletree by Hilton Hotel, SeaTac Airport. Inaugural event, which will have a lot of exciting events planned. And so far, they've got some pretty big stuff. They have Brian Keane of AvPro Designs. He's got the big airport dioramas, and then Todd Michaels with Gemini Jets. That was recently announced, and there might be more coming, so definitely sign up for the newsletter, get registered, to do all that fun stuff, because it is going to be a great show. Alright, so we're going to do another new release. We have this TWA 727-100 Twin Globes. So I had to get one of the 727s that I didn't get at the airplane shop. I will get the rest of them soon, believe me. I will probably do another massive unboxing at some point to get all the other 727s, because I am behind. I am very behind on them right now. But I do at least have one of them, two of them technically if you count the Delta Shuttle from earlier. And that's what matters. So there's the Gemini Jets logo and everything. Hopefully this model is fine, because the box is busted on this side. It was not like that when I put it in there into the shipping box. But looks like the model's okay for now. And then there's the cradle and everything, or not the cradle, the pamphlet there. 2025 release. And yeah, God, UPS, they just really messed this one up. GJ TWA 2353 is the item number on this. And let's hope to God that a landing gear is not broken on this one either. This one was fine when I took it out of the box at the show, and it looks like we're fine. Okay, well, as long as it's just the box that's damaged, I could care less. It's the model I'm more so after, but this one's nice. So I'm glad I got this one. I should have gotten the Delta widget, but like I said, I was more after stuff that you can't get online at the show. So we'll get the Delta widget at some point down the line, and then that will be, put us in a good spot. Really love Gemini's efforts with the 727 lately. Probably going to make an analysis video on it at some point down the line, so stay tuned for that. But we have a very beautiful model, TWA 727-100 Twin Globes. Let's take a look. Starting off, we have the nose cone, copy windows. Nose cone looks a little sloppy there, but can't really see it from afar. Fleet code there on the bare metal. And then you have the very tiny TWA globe logo. One lone antenna up on the top, and then there's that wing seam that everybody keeps talking about. And considering the alternatives, I think this one's okay. Registration is November 851 Tango Whiskey. Then you have the Starstream 727 titles on the engines, and then the TWA logo along with the italicized American flag. On the right side, have a luggage door there, and also another one back there. Looking great. The APU and everything also looking super nice. Underneath, Gemini Jet's logo stand hole and some printed details on the bare metal. On the top, the wings are also the same way, just like the United Saw Bass, and the overwing exit markings are also featured. Beautiful bird from Gemini. Super happy to have this one, and we'll get the rest of the 727s probably in an upcoming massive unboxing. I might do another one here over spring break or a little after. Just depends on my schedule. And oh yeah, I also got the flyer for the. Actually, this is for the next SFO Collectible show. That will be September 26th at the Best Western Plus Grosvenor Airport Hotel. So the same venue as before. So definitely hit this up again if you are in the area. I probably won't go back to this one just because it's a little far for me. But maybe if everything works out, maybe I'll do it again. We'll see. I like to do second goes. But now we have a very beautiful model. And this is one I have wanted to add for a long time as well. Amazon Prime Air 767-300 by Phoenix. Got this for, I think it was about $40, $49, kind of in that range. So this is one that Phoenix recently released, and I've been eyeing this one for a while. And I was happy to see them at the show, so I picked one up. This is my last purchase of the show after I had already exhausted my cash reserve. So I dove a little deeper into my the other cash that I had at the show, and I got this one. So we have the full aircraft model info there. Prime Air, image of the plane, logo, registration November 367 Alpha Zulu, 1 to 400 scale. Looking super nice. And all the other Phoenix details featured prominently. And on the back we have the Prime Air image again, and the Amazon logo and everything, looking super nice. Gemini keeps doing these, but they never release them publicly. They say that Amazon does not allow them to do public releases, which is very unfortunate because I think they would sell like hotcakes if they did do public releases. I don't know how often they do them, but they certainly do them at least at a basis where we know they exist. But man, this is nice. Super happy to have a Prime Air 7.6. So my second Prime Air aircraft, I have the 738 by JC that I got off of Vegas Aviation about almost 3 years ago now. I got it at the Dallas show back in 2023. Let's take a look. Wouldn't you know it, Prime Air 767. Never thought I'd add one of these. I thought I'd have to spend a ridiculous amount of money to get an old Phoenix release, but I'm happy that they redid this so that everyone can get their hands on one without having to break their banks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful model. Let's take a look. Nose cone, cockpit windows, and then there's some very tiny titles. I think this says, I want to say it's operated by, I think it's like ATI, I think is who flies these. Can't really see it with the glare, but it says some like, yeah, I can't really see. I can't see what the text says for sure, but you'll see it there in the video. ETOP certification 367. Then we have the front door Prime Air titles along with the cargo loading bay. Then you have the red antenna on the bottom, white on the top. There's the engines and all the blocked out windows, and there's the winglet. Love the camera focusing on that properly and intentionally. November 367 Alpha Zulu, and then we also have the Amazon Prime logo. And then on the other side, Prime Air titles featured prominently. Another look at that text there that was on the west side. I think it says like unbridled air or something like that. I don't know what it says, but it says something there. And the registration again, November 367 Alpha Zulu. Underneath, we have the Amazon logo in the blue and the stand hole and everything. And then on the top, nothing else really to report on besides the details for the wings. Prime Air, happy to finally have a 767. And now let's do the largest aircraft I got from the show. Saving the best for last. United 777-300ER, Evo Blue, November 2749er uniform. This does have the, I think it's like the Sydney World Pride sticker, if I remember right. This is an old Phoenix release, not necessarily old, but this is from about a year or two ago now. They did do this, and I kind of wanted to get one without the sticker, but this is my only option, and it was $50, so I'm like, what the heck. I've gotten models with little stickers before. I don't really care about the stickers, so why not? Boeing 777-300ER, image of the plane, United, registration, and then there's the sticker there enlarged so you can see it. And then all the other details as a standard Phoenix model would have. Quite a few Phoenixes in this, so I think that's my, what is that, 1, 2, 3 over there, and then I have 4. So this is the 5th Phoenix model, so about a third of what I got from this trip is all Phoenix stuff, which is great. And then there's the back. Love the gradient there with the sky and everything. And I don't know if I took this one out. I think I did, maybe once, but I don't really recall seeing it all that much. All right. 2749er uniform, and I just had this because a friend has this registration memorized. Keep forgetting why they have it memorized, but it is there, and I just remember it. I can just recall it. It doesn't fly with the sticker anymore, but man, that is nice. Another Evo wide body. I tell you, the 333 with Evo, it just works so well, and especially with it being United's flagship, or at least one of their flagships. I think they kind of lean in more on the Dreamliners, but the 333 is there. These primarily fly out of SFO. They do a lot of the flights to Asia, and then they fly to Honolulu as well, I've seen. That's what they primarily do. So they don't really have much of a purpose outside of that, but they do fly elsewhere around the network if United needs them, especially with the extra demand if the, like the Dreamliner can't do it for whatever reason. But there we go. 333 for United with the sticker by Phoenix. This is, my first Phoenix 333 too, I want to say, or no, I think I had the ANA one, so disregard that. But first for United here with the 333 in my collection. So to start off, we have the nose cone, cockpit windows, there's the Sydney World Pride sticker, Star Alliance logo, connecting people uniting the world, and have the fleet code on the nose gear door, L1 door, you have the United titles along with a gray Wi-Fi dome, one little antenna up there at the top, and you have the lovely GE90 engines on this. They just make a beautiful song when they take off right in front of you. L3, L4, and then L5 door. There's a registration again, 2749er uniform, L5, and everything else looking super clean. Love the United Evo tail. That blue gradient looks nice. Manufacturers are a little inconsistent with it, I've noticed. But otherwise, we're looking pretty good here. There's the right side. You see the sticker again, and all the other applicable details. Looking phenomenal on this bird. Underneath, pretty basic. No Phoenix logo, but the stand hole is there. And on the top, you have the overwing exit markings alongside the little black stripes there that the 333s have. So there we go. That's all the models I got from the SFO show. 8 total models. Great ones to add. Now let's round everything up from this unboxing. And there we are, massive unboxing number 30, a fantastic massive unboxing with a good variety of models, retro, modern, East Asia. Here's a look at the retro section. Delta Shuttle 727, my first ever Airplane Shop Las Vegas model, certainly won't be the last. Sun Country 722 as well from the SFO show, the rest of these retros from that collectible show. A bit unfortunate with the America West Dash 8, but we'll get that fixed up. And then the Shorts 360 needs to not be tail heavy, so let me adjust that with a piece of GSC from the setup. So try to get that under there. All right, that's looking a lot better now. So there's the Shorts 360 for Northwest Airlink. TWA 721, always love getting the new releases from these shows, but not too many. And then, of course, the star of the show, the Cathay 80th A350 by Aero Polaris, not NG. And then we have some other modern stuff. A Legion 319, another matching rag. Alaska Max 9, a good friend pickup. Prime Air 763 from the SFO show. Love to finally have one of these. And then the JetBlue A220, new livery, looking fantastic. Also some other stuff in here as well. There's the Airline Videos Live goodie bag that I have there. 737-300 sticker. There's that timetable there again, and then the SFO show flyer, one for the fall. Again, that's Saturday, September 26th at the Best Western Plus Grosvenor Airport Hotel, so same location as the spring one here. And then some of the other wide bodies, Miat Mongolian 789, Cathay Pacific A35K, both of these coming over from my friend, thank you again. United 333, Sydney World Pride special sticker, looking phenomenal. Genair 222 by Phoenix, another huge East Asia asset. And then the Cathay Pacific A330-300 by Phoenix, another great addition. Quite the variety of models in this massive unboxing. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for the rest of California Cruisin' content to come. There's a lot of it with trip reports, plane spotting, and of course the SFO Collectibles show, which you'll be seeing here in the coming weeks. But you'll also see a card once that video's out, so go check that out if you want to see how the show went and what I found and how I found everything, because there's a bunch of great stuff there. So that'll do it for this massive unboxing. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.